Child soldiers are a tragic reality in many parts of Africa, where children under the age of 18 are exploited by armed forces and groups. These children are used in various roles, from combat to support positions like cooking, carrying messages, or even as sex slaves. In 2008, it was estimated that Africa was home to 40% of the world's child soldiers, and the problem was growing faster there than on any other continent. The UN has identified several African countries, including the Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Mali, Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, and Sudan, as places where armed groups recruit and use child soldiers. It's hard to know exactly how many child soldiers there are in Africa because some areas are difficult to access, and many births aren't officially registered. However, estimates suggest that tens of thousands of children are involved. In some conflicts, child soldiers can make up a large percentage of the fighters. The UN reports that 250 million children worldwide live in areas affected by armed conflict. These children are especially vulnerable to violence and exploitation. The UN considers the recruitment and use of children in conflict a serious violation of children's rights. Despite international agreements against it, child recruitment continues to be a problem. In 2020, about 118 million children in Africa lived near conflicts where child recruitment was happening. This is especially concerning because Africa has a young population. With many people under the age of 15, the problem is getting worse in places like the Sahel region, where armed groups are becoming more active. Countries like Mali and Burkina Faso are struggling to fight these groups, and child recruitment is on the rise. Child recruitment happens for a few main reasons. Poverty, lack of education, and job opportunities, and displacement all make children more vulnerable. When children don't have access to education or a stable home, they may see joining an armed group as their only option. Sometimes, children are forced to join at gunpoint. Other times, they may volunteer, but their choice is often influenced by fear, coercion, and a lack of safe alternatives. Some children join to protect themselves or their families, or because they feel a need for revenge. The roles child soldiers play vary. Some are forced into direct combat, while others provide support by cooking, cleaning, or gathering information. Girls are also used as soldiers, often in smaller numbers, and face specific dangers like sexual violence and being forced into marriage. Regardless of their role, child soldiers experience terrible violence and abuse. They may witness death, killing, and sexual violence. And many are forced to commit violent acts themselves. Using child soldiers has devastating effects on the countries involved. It destabilizes communities, disrupts education, and hinders economic development. When children are forced to fight instead of going to school, it creates a cycle of poverty and violence that's hard to break. The presence of armed groups and the ongoing conflict make it difficult for countries to provide basic services like healthcare and education to their people. One organization working to help child soldiers is War Child. War Child focuses on providing education, psychosocial support, and child protection services to children affected by conflict. They work to reintegrate former child soldiers back into their communities by offering counseling, vocational training, and opportunities to go back to school. War Child also advocates for the rights of children affected by war and works to prevent child recruitment in the first place. Reintegrating child soldiers back into society is a long and difficult process. These children have often experienced trauma and may have physical and emotional scars. They need specialized support to heal and rebuild their lives. This includes counseling, education, and help finding employment. It's also important to address the root causes of child recruitment, such as poverty and lack of opportunity. To prevent it from happening in the future, ending the use of child soldiers in Africa requires a multifaceted approach. Governments, international organizations, and local communities must work together to protect children, provide them with opportunities, and hold those who exploit them accountable. By addressing the root causes of child recruitment and providing support to former child soldiers, we can help break the cycle of violence and create a brighter future for Africa's children.